Microphone test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Microphone test, 1, 2, 1, 2. How you doing, everybody? I'm Ken Bykoff, and welcome to the Peegs Postgame Live. Indiana heads to Columbus, and Turtles in a 91-78 loss to Ohio State that pretty much, look, this, to my eyes, it wasn't an NCAA tournament team going into this game. And now, basically, as far as I'm concerned, the best that you're going to be able to do is just be able to try to get through the Big Ten tournament with the championship, because this at 18-13 ain't going to cut it. I know they got to put 68 teams in, but when your two good wins are against Purdue and UCLA, one of those on the road in overtime, I'm not going to give you credit. And, you know, somebody on Chris on Twitter, he tweeted during the game at me, and he said, I wanted to read it for you because I absolutely agree with this. Says, I'm an old school diehard. I am not into barely skating into the tourney only to get smoked in the first or opening round when this team is pathetic and hasn't earned anything, Ken. My thing is I completely agree with it. That the whole time, you know, just because you get into the tournament, whoop-de-shit, you know what? I don't want you to just squeak into the tournament and just get that. You're Indiana. Indiana fans expect their team, a program that hasn't been to the tournament often over the past 10, 15 years. But you should be able, with the resources and the support that this program has, you should be able to go ahead and make that move and be able to get into the tournament and be competitive in the Big Ten. And it's year one and all that kind of stuff. I get it. All I'm saying is that this has been an incredibly frustrating year. And if you're frustrated, you should be. Because what we've seen from this team is simply not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. 812-393-2600 is the number. We have our first call. Caller, if I have your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hey, how you doing, Ken? Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. How are you doing?
I didn't get the last time I talked to you. You couldn't talk.
No, actually, last time I could hear you, but I couldn't. You couldn't hear me, and I figured I figured out the issue with that. So that was good. I appreciated you talking.
Good, you know, we can get mad and everything else, and rightfully so. The key to next year is DeVries cannot go get Mid-American talent again.
Yep.
And that's what he's got here. We got one legitimate player, that's Lamar. Tucker DeVries, once we got into Big Ten, was, and maybe it's a sad thing to say, but he was non-existent. In other words, he ran into guys that are stronger than him, quicker than him, and he was handled. You know, he didn't get off with 6, 7 threes like he was in the non-conference stuff,
right,
except for the tough games. I look at our two guys in the middle, and they're soft as toilet paper. There's no other way to describe it. You look at Reed Bailey. He doesn't want to get hit by anybody. He does more falling away on shots. He will not go up into people and draw fouls.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if he's just scared to get hit. I don't know. I know this. He's timid. That's clear as day. Sam Alexis was hit and miss all year. Good game, bad game, and there's a reason that Florida didn't keep him. I mean, I think it didn't even, I mean, I think that's, and our guards, we did not have a bully guard. You look at the guards from Wisconsin, they just run over people. They just run you over and go the hole.
Yep.
Look at tonight with Thornton. He just runs you over.
Yep.
And we don't have guards. I mean, I think it's safe to say we may have the worst guard structure. We're probably going to draw Northwestern, and you don't think Martinelli's going to run over everybody, and they won't call fouls on him. Now, I think that he gets away with a lot. I think Thornton, these guys get away with a lot. But then the next thing is this, and it was on the chat or on the thread tonight multiple times over the last few games too. People are getting pissed with Darren DeVries that he will not step up and protect his players.
Well, you've hammered this drum before, and I understand. Yep. I understand where you're coming from. To me, right. that is well down on the list of issues for this program. It isn't a matter of DeVries isn't protecting his players. To me, this is all this season has been about talent. So I understand what you're saying when it comes to that, but I don't think that just pop it off just to try to make a point to your players is going to be something that's going to be a long-term positive for the program.
Well, my point, and I put him at the bottom of the list as far as that goes today, and I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is this, though, okay? And you were saying before, like, okay, on the road, but when he got back home with our crowd, if you remember, he gets out, he's got to whatever the case may be. My issue is this, and I know what people are saying is, in his respect, coming in and earn respect to the officials. He's not earned any respect from any officials. I think it's clear as day when you look at. I mean, look at the call that they overturned the ball and gave it back to him out of bounds, and the guy came across and it was Royal who grabbed him. I mean, he literally grabbed his arm.
Well, they can't change that call. They can't change that call.
No. I do not disagree with that. What I'm saying is that was an obvious call, and they just didn't call it, and that happens a lot. But that's again. Of the list of things, if there's 10 things, that's 10th on the list.
Right.
In that respect, I think next year, in his case, he better step up, and when he gets the opportunity. But then you look at how sloppy we are, and I think I don't know. We didn't come to play tonight.
Nope.
It just looked like that. This is the biggest game. This is the game. The biggest game of the year at home was Northwestern, and we choked. And I think that's part of the makeup of this team now. You have to give DeVries a little bit of leeway because he got hired late. Took a long time to hire a staff for whatever reason. I don't know, but that's, that was his decision. And then they started recruiting. And by the time they recruited, we're getting leftover, the mincemeat left over of what's there, in essence. There were no real stars. Lamar Wilkerson ended up being a damn good player without question. But other than that, we couldn't find a guard combo all year long. It doesn't make any difference.
Right.
Doran had, 2 games? And then since then, he's been, how would you describe it? Semi-non-existent or a lot of mistakes? I don't know,
Yeah.
And the mistakes that we make, a pass. We don't throw it to our guys, we throw it to their guys. So, we're not going to go very far in big tournament. I would not be surprised in Big Ten tournament if we don't get knocked out the first game. And it's probably going to be Northwestern. It's not going to shock me. But, and then, DeVries, I know he's getting his team ready to play tonight, but we had a chance to get out to some high school state tournament. He should have got there this week. He's got a staff to he's got to get recruiting immediately. Now, I think they hired a pretty good guy from what I can gather as their general manager type guy, I guess is what you would call it.
Yeah.
And they got to get out, and he's got to go to Dolson and say, I need this money, put it in play right now. And they better do it pretty quick, because if the guy in the White House does what he says he's going to do, he's going to try to wipe all the NIL and everything out, according to what he said today. So we got to get out and get it done. But we cannot bring in players from lower level schools anymore to compete in the Big Ten. And we got to get 2 centers that are monsters inside. We don't have any, like the Bynum kid for Ohio. We don't have anybody like that at all.
Right.
He's a man child there. We don't have that. He's a man child, and we got little boys in respect compared to what he is. So they got to go get two really good guards. They got to get a guard that's that's powerful enough to run people over if he has to go into the hole. We got to get.
Well, hell,
We
they
got to
have a
get
blank
two
slate.
guys.
They got a blank slate because most of these guys
Oh yeah,
aren't going to be here next year. And by most of these guys, I mean, look,
all of them.
all of them: Reed Bailey, Lamar Wilkerson, Sam Alexis, Connor Enright, Tayton Connerway.
Yep.
Trent Sisley ain't going to be here. Why would he? He'll leave.
Yep.
Tucker
You're
DeVries. I mean,
exactly right.
I don't know that for sure. I'm not giving any kind of insight, but
Nope.
that is
Nope.
my
Nope.
sense
I
is
agree
that
with
he
that.
will walk away, and why wouldn't he? So I mean, Josiah Miles, is he going to stick around? Probably, but and Nick Dorn, I
I
don't
hope not.
know.
I hope.
It's a whole clean slate for just like it was last off season. You
Yeah.
have to pour everything into this. I agree with that completely.
Well, and I would say this too, and I think you brought up a point with Trent Sisley and Tayton Connerway both. I don't know what transpired in the last 3-4 weeks, but those two didn't play. I mean, we can look at all the pros and cons with Connor Enright versus Tayton Connerway, but the one thing Tayton Connerway does is at least he goes to the hole. I mean,
Yes.
he's not going to run you over, but at least he has the ability to drive. But he didn't play. I noticed at the senior night he didn't shake hands with any coaches. He just walked right by him, and that's a subtle like screw you kind of thing without, and just what I'm surmising. And with Sisley, I don't understand. You wanted to keep him. You made sure you kept him, and then you do this to him. And I don't know what the deal is, but I think that's going to hurt us in recruiting. Because he's an Indiana kid, and if he leaves, what's he going to say? Because I know that his high school coach and other people are going to get all over. Don't go play there, and here we go again, kind of thing. I mean, it's a big time negative, and he's going to Trent. I mean, DeVries has to explain to the press what was going on. He owes the people of Indiana, the fans of Indiana, the press. What the hell were you doing, Darren, with these two guys? What were you doing? Explain it to us. Here, I would not shock me if Tayton Connerway says, I'm not playing in the Big Ten. I'm out of here. That wouldn't shock me. I don't know anything either. That wouldn't shock me. And I don't know what Trent Sisley could say the same thing. Why the hell should I just ride in the bus of the plane? You know what I mean? I'm just surmising is all I'm doing there.
Yeah,
and
no, that's not going to happen.
You're jumping off the bridge.
That's not going to happen because they I mean, you have NIL deals. You gotta see that kind of stuff through. So
yeah,
and you don't walk away on your teammates.
Yeah, you're right. They need, but they better go get two big bruisers inside, and they better go get two good guards. They got to have those two things.
IU and every other team. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much.
All right, Bob.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Bye-bye.
812-393-2600 is the number. A lot to chew on there. And I always appreciate when Kevin calls. He's passionate, and I think that's, again, I'll take anger over apathy any day. Absolutely. He mentioned Tayton Connerway, and I do think it's interesting because Connerway today plays 7 minutes, gets 2 points from the free throw line, has 2 rebounds and an assist, a turnover, -7 on the night. Excuse me, I'm burping. But Connerway, he scored 12 against Purdue, 5 of 7 shooting on February 20th. Played 20 minutes against Northwestern, scored 14 points on 6 of 6 shooting. Michigan State, next game, he plays 7 minutes. Minnesota, 8 minutes. This one, 7 minutes. Obviously, there's a doghouse situation there, especially for a guy that against Washington scored 20. At Maryland, 19 points. Iowa, 16 points. When he played, he produced. And he hasn't been playing. And meanwhile, you can't say, well, it's all about production because Nick Dorn has been playing quite a bit, and he hasn't given Indiana anything in a while. He had 11 points against Minnesota, a team that was playing 6 players. But previous to that, 4 points, 8 points, 0 points in 25 minutes at Purdue, 1 point at Illinois, 11. There's been a couple of games where Dorn moved into the starting lineup, but he is in no way, shape, or form justified his playing time at all. And I'm not here to beat the drum for Connerway, but what I'm saying is it's quite a shift in the kind of minutes that guys were getting. And it just fell off the table, and Nick Dorn didn't do enough to to deserve the minutes that he's gotten. Now, in this one, he played just 16 minutes because they started playing some of the bigs together, but that's just where this is. It's not very good. And that's an easy way to put it. It's not very good. But we also need to talk about the fact that this basketball program hasn't been very good in quite some time. Again, you have had 3 trips to the NCAA tournament in the past 10 seasons. That will be 3 in 11 seasons, barring some kind of run in the Big Ten tournament. Indiana's gone to the tournament 6 times in the past 15 years. This program ain't the one you grew up with. I'll tell you that. It has been a portrait in mediocrity. And in a game today at Columbus where Indiana needed to play and needed to have a sense of urgency about it, it just didn't happen at all. Ohio State was very clearly the much better team than it had been. And so to me, it's just really, really frustrating to watch. 812-393-2600 is your number. I was also disappointed today when I saw Dennis Hobson, who I clearly remember with his nice, wonderful head of hair when he was in school, and now he's bald as I am. Still obviously looks better than I do, but I just, all these little reminders about how old I'm getting. I'm not a big fan of that. Let's talk about some of the individual performances in this game. Lamar Wilkerson, 18 points on 6 of 15 shooting, 2 of 6 from three-point range, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but he had 3 turnovers in 40 minutes. Wilkerson also sets Indiana's single-season Big Ten scoring record. So he finished with 400 and he beat Don Schlunt's record, which was 459. So he went over that. I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head, but had himself a nice game, nice record, huge pickup for the Hoosiers. It's hard to imagine where they would be without him. I also like to imagine where Indiana could have been with him had he been on the team last year, but that's just a fun mental exercise. It isn't worth a damn. Tucker DeVries, 17 points on 7 of 14 shooting, but just 1 of 7 from three-point range, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Tucker has 3 rebounds, 5 assists versus 1 turnover, and 3 steals in 39 minutes, but he's minus 13. Indiana's defense was god-awful. Not that Ohio State's was worth a damn either. Ohio State shoots 59.2% from the field overall. Indiana, 54.9%. But when you get out rebounded 24-21, and it just, Ohio State just wore Indiana down in a way that the Hoosiers just didn't have an answer for. Sam Alexis, 14 points on 5 of 5 shooting. That's the one thing that I do think that this coaching staff can hang its hat on a little bit. I keep drinking stuff. I got a cold, and I'm fighting this voice thing, and so I know I sound a little bit off as it is, but just that explains why I just had to stop right there. 2 rebounds for Alexis. Alexis is a guy that of late has been doing better, and to me, it's a little bit of an indictment of that coaching staff that his skills were not noticed earlier. And yeah, sometimes you could take a while to get used to your role or get used to, it grow in confidence. But Alexis has been producing at a high level offensively for the past several games. Basically since that Wisconsin game where he had 19 points and 9 of 10 shooting. He's shooting 68.4% from the field going into this game. And then he goes 5 of 5. So that only goes up. So, I mean, to me, it's great that they're showing what a big can do in this offense. I just wonder what the hell took so long for them to start looking for Alexis and really pushing him to be more active in the post. Connor Enright, 12 points on 4 of 6 shooting, 1 of 2 from three-point range. He had 5 assists versus just 2 turnovers in 38 minutes. Nick Dorn, 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting. He was a non-factor in 16 minutes. Reed Bailey, 12 points on 5 of 8 shooting, had 5 rebounds in 29 minutes. Josiah Miles was held scoreless, had nothing across except for a couple of fouls and a turnover in 13 minutes. And, of course, Tayton Connerway, 2 points, did not attempt a field goal, 2 rebounds, an assist, had a turnover, and a steal in 7 minutes. And that's your 78 points. Indiana scores 78 points, 28 of 51 shooting. Second half, they were 15 to 23 from the floor. You know, Indiana had 15 assists on 28 made baskets, including in the second half, 9 assists on 15 made baskets. That's very good. That's efficient. But it doesn't mean anything if you're not playing defense on the other end. You allow Ohio State to score 91 points on you. You allow, 5 players in double figures. Bruce Thornton with 25 points on 7 of 9 shooting. He just ate you up alive and then handed out 7 assists to boot. Both teams were bad defensively. Both teams, but you have one team playing with a ton of confidence, the other team not bringing a lot of confidence to the floor, and that is a problem. That is a problem. In the chat, like Lynchin, I guess it is, says, hoping to trust the process. Been a long time since Indiana has been relevant in basketball. We're just undersized and lack the physicality. Good character kids, but we need a complete roster turnover. Whether you want it or need it or not, it's happening. Because again, I think Indiana was the oldest, most experienced roster in college basketball this year, if I remember correctly. And the problem is it wasn't the most talented group. It was a roster packed with mid-major talent. And just because it says Indiana on your chest doesn't mean that you are a Big Ten talent player. The fact Indiana was able to get to 18 regular season wins is solid, but you just couldn't hang. You didn't. From early on, it was very clear. They didn't have the quickness, the athleticism, the speed, or the size. And that was going to come back to bite them, and it did in a physical Big Ten. Ryan Kramer says, what happened to IU on offense? They were setting down screens and had movement earlier in the year. IU just played one-on-one the whole game with some ball screens. Ryan, that is my biggest concern, is that this is a team that early in the year, it was lovely to watch. I was on these call-in shows talking about how refreshing it was to see the movement, to see everything that this team was doing. It was really refreshing. And then that disappeared, and the hard cutting disappeared. And it has atrophied. There were games in which you saw that from Indiana, and then it would just disappear, or you might see it for a couple of possessions and it would go away. So finding that consistency is an issue, and that to me also, as time went on, you could have had a bit of a chemistry issue as well. Pecan Pie says, where does IU go from here? I'm done with this season. Time to talk about next year. Freshmen are freshmen. We can't count on them. I agree with that, but you're going to see transfer portal festival here. The important part is let's make sure that you build a roster. Now, I agree with Kevin, who called in earlier, that it was a matter of it took a long time to get assistants here. It took a while to get a roster put together. People were concerned about it. And yeah, you knew that that the players were going to get here, but it was not a great start when he was hired, and all of a sudden you didn't have a bunch of people buying in. And yeah, there's a ton of resources here, but it's a two-part equation to where you can want a player and make them, pretty good offers, but they have to want to come. And the pressure to win at Indiana is extensive. And that's okay. That's okay. Don't shy away from that. You do want to have, a nice foundation of young guys. This was a team that was built to win right now. And it just kind of had to be cobbled together. That's why you had so many veterans. It didn't happen. And now, like I said, just being able to get to the NCAA tournament is going to take several wins in the Big Ten. But it's to what end? Is there anything about what you've seen from this team this season that makes you think they could suddenly go on a run in the Big Ten or in the NCAA tournament? So although it would be nice to say, yeah, we got to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 3 years, what are you going to do with it? There's nothing that says this team is going to be able to put it together. That's the issue. You have multiple 4-game losing streaks. You're inconsistent. It's difficult. So you want to talk about next year. We don't know who the hell is going to be here next year. And not of who's going to stay and who's going to go. We know who's going because they're graduating. I have an idea of who's not going to be around because they're going to choose to go. But it is a wide open spaces. And for the second straight year, Indiana is going to be completely building its roster from scratch. That's just how it has to be. And it's unfortunate. (812-393-2600) is your number. Indiana 91-78 losers at Ohio State. Ohio State team that looks like it could put things together and go on a run in the Big Ten tournament and in the NCAA tournament. Indiana doesn't. That team turtled today. And you could say, well, they cut it to 11 at one point in the second half. That's not grinding. That's not. You weren't competitive. You went to halftime down 17. You gave up 50 points in the first half on the road. So the fact that you won the second half by 4 points doesn't impress me. Just doesn't. That effort that we saw from this team when they needed to play at a high level, they didn't do it. It's frustrating because people care about this program and they want to see great things happen, but it isn't something that the Hoosiers aren't getting the job done. Looking to see when we're going to be able to have some of the post-game press conferences. I do see that apparently DeVries said to Don Fisher, we got to get back home, get ourselves ready, get ready for that first-round matchup, whoever it may be, and we've got to go do our part. We've got to win and keep winning as long as possible. Lip service. Lip service. I mean, look, that's what he has to say, and I get it. He can't just go ahead and torch his team and roll over on them. But I mean, that is you do definitely want to be able to. You need to be able to get your team fired up and have them ready to play, and they weren't, and that is the frustrating part of this. The boys over in Columbus have the post-game press conference ready for me. That's good. Thank you, fellas. We're quite the team here at Peegs.com, and I appreciate them. So we're going to listen to Darren DeVries and Reed Bailey talk about tonight's game. On the flip side of that, calls are going to be open. And lines are open, so please pick up the phone, give me a call, and we can talk some IU basketball. I want to hear your thoughts on where this team can go from here. But for now, let's hear a little bit from Darren DeVries and Reed Bailey during the postgame press conference.
Yeah, I guess, Coach, let's talk about into the first half. You guys are down 3 with about 7 minutes to go, and they push it to 17. What did you feel were the big things there in that 7-minute stretch?
I thought the biggest thing there was just the threes. We weren't able to get a stop there to, end that first half. So that was a huge stretch right in there. I thought we were, back and forth a little bit in decent shape, and then they got going. They got a couple drives to the rim, hit a few threes, and the lead exploded.
Darren, I guess just more broadly, defensively in the last few weeks, just kind of where have things kind of gone wrong for this team? It feels like there have just been kind of too many of these performances where a team kind of gets loose on you for a stretch and you can't kind of get control again.
Yeah, I would say in this stretch outside of the Minnesota game, we've given up too many threes, like too high percentages, too clean of looks, and that's really caught up to us in those games.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Derek, I mean, in the first half, a bunch of uncharacteristic turnovers. Did you feel like you had the urgency when you kind of came out? I mean, I know you got down to 3, but were you happy with kind of what you were seeing there in that first half? When, they're shooting 26% from the floor, they turned the ball over. What did you see?
Yeah, I thought offensively it was fine early. We had a few uncharacteristic, just careless turnovers that we don't do a lot of, but we did in that half. I thought as the half went on, they went to a little more switching and denying and things, and we got stood up. I thought as the game went on, we adjusted and we were able to get downhill and get to the rim and stuff, but it was a little too late on that offensive end.
Yeah, just how do you rally? A loss like this with a huge week ahead. Just how do you rally after this one?
I think the biggest thing is it's the next chapter now. It's the regular season's over. Now it's you prepare for postseason play. It's just you get ready for that next one and you play as long as you can and win as many games as you can, and that's going to be our mindset. So you worry about the one in front of you. The one in front of us is going to be Wednesday, and that's really all we care about at this point.
Reed, I guess, just how tough is it just not being able to get that stop? Not being able to get the kill, and you guys are coming back like that?
Yeah, I mean, you need it to be able to come back in that game, and then we were right where we wanted to be. I think it was right around the beginning of the 3-minute mark. We cut it to 11, and I think that we just gotta find something to dig in deeper at that point to be able to come out and keep going back.
I guess for both of you, Reed and Sam played together a lot on the court out there in the second half. I guess what led to that, and how well do you think it worked?
Yeah, I thought they did a great job. We were able to, neither one was in any foul trouble. We thought there was an opportunity there with their size and things that we could get the floor, get a little more size on the floor. I thought, Reed, his ability to drive the ball, we could still keep it spaced enough. So I thought both those guys did a really good job of coming in, and even though they hadn't done a lot together, gave us some really good minutes there.
Yeah, Reed, you had a lot of success around the rim, and Sam as well. What kind of led to that from Ohio State's defensive side? Did you see anything that kind of allowed you to have that success around the basket?
I'm not sure. I mean, Sam's been doing it this whole entire second half of the season, and he keeps getting better at it. So, we have all the confidence in him, and he showed it that he can get down there and score around the rim against the best of them. So, I mean, so I don't know if it was Ohio State, but he can really get down there and score the ball.
Anything else? Go ahead.
Yeah, Reed, just in the locker room, what's it been like? You lost 5-6, and now Darren talked about turn the page. And have you guys been able to kind of has there been any kind of lingering doubts from these losses, or have you been able to shift your focus? And what do you think it's going to be like there going forward?
Yeah, I don't think so at all. I think we just have a lot of motivation to come into the Big Ten tournament and show what we really can do. I mean, just having that bad taste in your mouth, I think it's motivation enough to really come out and try and make a run.
Darren, I mean, you talked about turning the page before, but just what's the frustration level of having a first half like you guys had today, knowing how important this game was?
I think obviously we want to play well. We want to put ourselves in a position to win the game, and for us to have a stretch like that, it's certainly disappointing. But our guys are going to continue to battle. That's all I know. So we're gonna get home. We're gonna get ready for our next game.
All right, thanks, guys.
So there's Darren DeVries and Reed Bailey talking in the post-game press conference. We live in a world, folks, where Indiana football won as many Big Ten games this season as Indiana basketball. That's where we're at. And I don't mean to be flippant about that, but that's just kind of what we're dealing with. We have another caller. Caller, if I have your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Eric from Indianapolis.
Hi, Eric. How you doing tonight?
Good, man. How about yourself? I was kind of like on the road, following the game at the end, and I didn't expect for them to win today. I really didn't expect a win. After they lost at home to Northwestern, that just kind of threw me off, and I was like, wow. I mean, they had an ample opportunity, and then they probably, if they shot well, they probably could have beat Michigan State too. But yet at the same time too, it's the same old story. It's like, Ohio State hit way more threes than what they normally do, but still, it's the interior part. It's hurt them.
Yeah,
has hurt them. And it's been a known thing. I never understood, even though they get in foul trouble separately, I never understood at certain points of the game why he don't play both at the same time.
Yeah, and he did that tonight.
Yeah, but the game's already out of hand.
Right.
Yeah, like the game got out of hand towards the end of the first half.
Yeah.
But he needs, I just tell you that there were times this year where I felt like I see Reed Bailey on the sideline. He got 2 fouls. Maybe Alexis may have 2 or 3. Put them in there together. If you're getting beat up that bad inside and you need another inside presence, Reed Bailey is not really a great inside presence, but at least he got extension.
Right.
To at least alter shots down low. It's kind of like the same old story. We can't rely on Lamar Wilkerson to have a 35-point game and a Tucker DeVries to score 20 points and the other guy, the guy's name? I don't know if he's coming back next year or not. The number 7.
Oh, Dorn? Yeah, Nick Dorn. Yeah.
Dorn, yeah. Yeah. I always get confused with him. But we can't rely on him to get us 12 to 14 points every single night.
Right.
As we could tell, there was a period of time where he was on a roll. He was playing well, and I figured that he would hit a wall somewhere, and he kind of hit the wall. When they really needed him, they hit the wall. When they was on that 4-game losing streak, they needed him. It is what it is. I don't know if I hear that they would have to play in that Crown tournament. I hear that they won't have a choice if they get selected. I hear that it's mandatory that they play in that tournament. So that's what we're looking forward to, unless they get on some kind of unbelievable run in this Big Ten tournament, and then they're going to play a play-in game. It doesn't matter how even now, if they won, just say hypothetically, if they won the Big Ten tournament, that's 5 games in 5 days.
Right.
If they won the Big Ten, now, then they'll probably put them as a 10 seed or something like that. But if they make it to the Saturday and lose, even if they get in the tournament, it's going to be a play-in game.
Right.
And we all know what that entailed the last time they played the play-in game. And I thought it was very unfair how they did that. And I thought it was very unfair. Now, I'm not saying Indiana would have beat St. Mary's, but I'm just saying they didn't even have 24 hours to prepare for that game.
Right.
And then they were traveling, So this is not a year. They got 18 wins. I kind of had them down for about 19 or 20. And, they fell a little bit short, and that was regular season game. I ain't talking about
right.
Maybe. Yeah, I kind of pegged them for that. They lost a couple of head scratches that I just can't believe.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that, because you talk about them having the 18 wins, and so you win what you win. It's not how, it's how many, and it's 18. But when you think about how remarkably close they are to being in a lot worse shape, it's really incredible because of the fact that, they had to go to double overtime to beat UCLA. They had to go to overtime to beat Wisconsin at home. I mean, you're talking about, a couple of plays away from there being a real issue. That is, to me, is what is incredible.
Right, and to me too, and I don't know if anybody thought about this, but if they had beat Ohio State today, now that Marquette win looks good because Marquette beat UConn last night. Now that I'm not saying.
Yeah, but Marquette's been garbage, so.
Yeah, but they did beat UConn, so that kind of holds a little weight. It kind of holds a little weight because they were like, well, Indiana beat Marquette by damn near 30 points, and then they beat the number 4 team in the nation. I just think that when you got to depend on teams losing and certain things to happen for them to get in the tournament, what the hell you want to get in the tournament for? What do you want to get in the tournament for? Because you're going to lose. So maybe, that crown would help them like it kind of catapulted Nebraska basketball. I mean, it kind of catapulted them. I'm not saying Indiana, but we got to come to a realization that this program is mediocre at best,
and has been for a while. Yeah.
It's mediocre. Crean had a couple of good years. I think even the second year of Mike Woodson, they lost some head scratchers that year because they swept Purdue and Illinois that year, and still finished like 3 games behind Purdue in the Big Ten.
Right.
I think they went 12-8, but they swept Purdue and Illinois that same season, and still finished 3 games behind. And they lost a lot of games that year to where we know what the problem was. A lot of the problem was outside shooting. They didn't have none. Now.
Well, and you know what you mentioned earlier about playing Bailey and Alexis together, and I know that there are some people that were like, well, wait, last year people were complaining about the 2 bigs playing together, but that isn't the case because the reason is not like Bailey and Alexis are not pure post players. Bailey is better as a stretch 4, somebody who works a little bit away. So just not saying that you're saying that, Eric, but I'm saying that anybody who's wondering about, well, everybody bitched about them playing 2 bigs together last year. If they played those 2 guys together this year, it's different.
Well, they bitched about it the whole time.
Yeah.
That Mike Wilson was there, but the problem was we didn't have no outside shooting.
Right.
And you take a couple of these guys they got on this team right now. If you put them on them teams the last couple of years, they're a tournament team because there were a few games where IU could have won had they been able to nail 3-point shots.
Yes.
And teams just lack stuff, but you got to go with the guaranteed two points pretty much. It was almost guaranteed when you threw the ball down low to Trace Jackson Davis or Ware or Ballo. They were going to get 2 points or get fouled.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying they're going to hit the foul shots. So you got to pick your poison. If you can't hit 3-point shots, there was nothing I felt like that Mike Wilson could have done because they wasn't hitting 3-point shots.
Right.
So you got to at least try to score every time down the court. Now, other teams were hitting threes, so we were playing 3-2. We were playing 3-2 the majority of the time. So I just got like, I just think that he drank the Kool-Aid a little bit too much when he picked that roster. I think that when they called him in there and said, hey, we need shooters, and we need a style of play, and such. I think that he drank the Kool-Aid. He drank that Kool-Aid and went out and got out. I said in the summer, I was like, when I saw the game on the internet when they played in Puerto Rico and they had to struggle to come back and beat that a Croatian team or whatever it was they played, they had a struggle, and I'm like, where is the big man at?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe he could turn it around next year, but we got a hell of a roster. We got a hell of a roster to turn around next year.
Yep.
I mean, we basically done lost 70 players.
Yep, a whole group of new people for sure.
Yeah, but who knows Trent Simpson's gonna stick around? I don't think he's gonna stick around. I think he's a mid-major player. I mean, I really think he is. I don't think, and I thought that in high school. I thought that he was overhyped, and he was a mid-major player to me. And he'd probably do good going somewhere like Indiana State or Drake or somewhere like that. He'd probably do better. You know, I mean, but he just hit a wall at, halfway through the season. He just hit a wall and he never recovered from it. And I never thought that he would be one of the ones that couldn't hit an outside shot, because all I saw him in his junior year at Harris Hill was hit outside shots all the time. And I said, well, hell, man, how you getting somebody? Yeah. You know what I mean? And then as he progressed, when I watched those games when he played at Montverde last year, I was like, man, this dude is like he's a 4-year IU player. He'll probably be a crowd favorite because he's from here. I mean, he's from Indiana, but he would probably take him to about his junior year to start producing double figures.
Yeah.
And on like a consistent basis. And so who knows if he's gonna stick around? And I don't know about Dorn. I don't know. I mean, so they may lose 10 players.
Yeah. Yeah, and you want to know something. At this point, when you're talking about flipping over as many players as they are, if you lose a couple more, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference, especially when you have two guys that were as inconsistent as it was. So, it's crazy to think about having a fresh start with, in year 2, and yet that's kind of what they're staring down the barrel of.
Yeah, I just think that he didn't address that big man thing, and he probably listened to them. He probably, hey, look, I will tell you, it's probably not his fault. I can guarantee you that. I don't know if he even made an effort to go after to keep Malik Renew. I don't know. I don't even know if he even made an effort. I mean, I don't know if he even made an effort, because the next thing I knew, Malik Renew was he was going to the portal. And then, because it took him so long to even get a coach. Remember, it took him so long.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like it took them so long, and the season was over. They didn't play in no kind of tournament or anything. So Malik Renew had pretty much they tried what they did in 2007.
Well, Renew needed a fresh start. And so that's what he was looking at, is a fresh start after, just mediocre basketball under Mike Woodson. Hey, let's go somewhere else where I could get a fresh start. I'm going to be able to get NIL money wherever I want to go. And and he left. So I don't blame him for that. And sometimes I always say, it's a 2-part equation. You have to want the player, but the player has to want to be there too.
Yeah. So I totally agree with you. And I don't expect anything Wednesday. They should possibly win Wednesday. I definitely don't expect anything on Thursday, because when it gets to Thursday, all the teams are even.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the teams that are playing, or the half of them are even. More than half of them are even. So I don't think that, except for Illinois and Michigan.
Yep.
And Michigan State and Purdue. So those top 4 teams, but the other 4 teams that's going to be playing on Thursday or Friday, that's like, those teams that's about as even as hell. It's about as even as they're going to get. And I think that the best case scenario, make it, if they can make it to Saturday. But I don't think they can. But if they can make it to Saturday, they'll probably get a fighting chance of getting in the tournament. But why? They get embarrassed by Binghamton or something.
Yeah.
Some school like that. Some school that had never won a tournament game. So so it just need to be reset, and maybe he will. I just hope he don't address the big man thing over the summer.
I feel confident that that's what he's planning. I love your passion, Eric. Thank you so much for calling, and we'll see how it plays out in the Big Ten tournament. But I'm like you, I don't have good feelings about it.
Yeah, no problem at all. And I would definitely talk to you on Wednesday night, God willing.
All right,
So,
sounds good.
You have a good night, but go IU. I'm still saying go IU.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
812-393-2600 is the number. While he was talking, I went ahead and I took a look at what Malik Renew is doing at Miami. How about 19.1 points, 6.7 boards a game? So that's nice. And Renew has also taken 63 three-pointers this year. Made 23 of them. So, yeah, I mean, look, there were guys from last year that could have made a difference this year, but they wanted a fresh slate. And Renew wanted a fresh start as well. This also, Indiana finishes the season 18-13 in the Big Ten. This is the fourth season in 5 years. Indiana has had at least 13 losses in the regular season, or at least 13 losses overall. I suppose, in the regular season. Yeah, because there's Woodson's first year, they went to the first round and lost 14 games, but they would have lost there. And that's the thing to keep in mind is Indiana's with 13 losses. Unless they would win the Big Ten tournament, there's going to be a 14th loss. So how can you justify going to the tournament if you have a team that has 14 losses? I don't see it. Indiana actually had their worst year in the Big Ten since Woodson's first season, when they went 9-11 in the Big Ten. Last 3 years, 12-8, 10-10, 10-10. This year, dropped down to 9-11. It's a basketball team, a basketball program that hasn't seen any success since the 2015-16 season 10 years ago. Can't stress that enough. Woodson's second year, Indiana finished tied for second in the Big Ten. But even at that was not a season that everybody was where IU had an opportunity, you felt, to make a deep run. Last call for phone calls, 812-393-2600 is the number. My voice is hanging by a thread right now. But, yeah. In the past 10 seasons, it has been ugly for Indiana. And it's frustrating because this is a program that has a ton of support, gets a ton of resources, and those resources are far out of whack with the results that have come back. All the tools, all the pieces, all the support and resources that are needed are here. You just need to translate that into something that is effective on the court. And there's been poor balance on the roster for the past several years. And building that roster is going to be absolutely everything going into next season. Jason on the chat says they shot the three ball great, just more talent. I assume he means Ohio State shot the three ball great, because in this one, 5 of 18 from three-point range for Indiana. That 18 three-point attempts is low for this team. Ohio State, 11 of 24 from three-point range. They did shoot it well, better than normal. But it is a talent issue, and that ultimately does go back to the coaching staff that put it together. But that offseason last year was very odd, because it did take a while for the coaches to get hired. It took a while for players to come, because the players aren't going to come if they don't know who the assistant coaches are. So you would hope this season, with a little more stability with the coaches, that you could hit the ground running in a way that other teams can. And you throw in the fact that barring something really different at the Big Ten tournament than what we're used to, there's going to be no real tournament to worry about. So No NCAA tournament to worry about anyway. So I think it'll be an interesting offseason to say the least. And, Peegs.com will be all over it. Nobody does this better than Jeff Rabjohns. I say that, and it isn't just a tagline because I work with Peegs. Man, ain't nobody more connected than Rabby. For football, nobody is more connected than Matt Weaver. That's just how that is. Indiana closes out the regular season with a 91-78 loss at Ohio State. Finished the season 18-13 in a game that they needed desperately to win to really bolster an NCAA resume. It didn't happen. Indiana instead gets rolled, and the final score was closer than really than the game. So I just think it's interesting. It just has a whole different feel. It's just a disappointing season is the best way that I put it. And you say it's 18 wins, 9-11 in the Big Ten. It's still disappointing. And it's leading into a very, very important offseason for this program. We'll be here to talk about it. My plan during the offseason is to have a weekly call-in where people could talk about football or basketball or talk to Rabby or Trevor or Jared Kelly, Matt Weaver, all of that to keep it going. Because I know I want to see this basketball program improve. I know you do for sure. I appreciate all the time you talking to me. Looking forward to talking to you after the Big Ten tournament game coming up. But for now, Indiana 91-78 losers. And what Kevin Frank says, win is an offseason, not important. It's always important. But there are levels of importance, to say the least. This is going to be a complete reset, and a complete reset is different than hoping to develop players that you already have. They're all extremely important. You're exactly right about that. Just some do feel a little bit more important than others, and this one feels that way for me because if you don't have a good offseason, if you don't bring in the talent that you need, and you struggle at this level next year, an already tuning out fan base. And look, I'm at Assembly Hall for every game, and I see the empty seats. I see people fading. A decade of mediocrity will do that. So that's what I mean about that. You have to get people excited, and right now you're going to have a whole new roster. They're going to have to learn all their names once again, try to find some kind of connections, and you have to make something happen there. Indiana didn't make it happen here. Now they play on Wednesday. Well, that's all the time we have on the Peegs Postgame Live. I want to thank you for listening, and I want to remind you to visit Peegs.com for the very best in IU football and basketball coverage you're going to find anywhere. Nobody covers Hoosier recruiting better than Jeff Rabjohns, Matt Weaver, Trevor Andershock, and Jared Kelly. So come be a part of a thriving and exciting community at Peegs.com. Folks, you are not going to be disappointed. Folks, we're out of time, but for now, and for Jeff, Matt, Trevor, and Jared, I'm Ken Bykoff saying thanks for listening, everybody.